Professor Kamakote, Professor Velraj, other distinguished Vice Chancellors, distinguished invitees, my dear students, it's a matter of joy for all of us to be here and being part of an event of release of the two books in the language which is the oldest and the richest in the world, that is in Tamil. These books, the two books were published some time back and took a while to translate it into the regional languages, and we are fortunate to have it today. These two books, of course, as you read it, you will get to know more and more about the content of it, more and more about the changes that are happening around. And the illustrious speakers have given a good account of a sense that one gets, overall sense one gets by reading these books. You know about the Modi at 20, how after Prime Minister Modi came at the helm of affairs, became the Prime Minister of India, how it has touched the life of different sections of our society. A housemaid, a youth, a sports person, industry, a small or large, national security, overall economy, different pieces have tried to give a reasonably decent account of how the lives of all sections of our society, no section is left, how it has touched and transformed these lives. These are described in various pieces that you will find in the book. And Modi and Ambedkar, of course. Thanks to Prime Minister Modi, we have started talking about Ambedkar. Because earlier, Dr. Ambedkar was only used for political mobilization. People will say, they will swear by his name whenever something comes, either to accuse someone or to praise oneself. Without understanding what Baba Sahib, what a kind of a person he was and whatever he did for the country. I can assure you, my understanding with the people, those who talk too much about him, I have occasion to ask a few questions, they were just drawing blank. What Baba Sahib did, right from the time when he was a great nationalist. When the British tried to create a separate electorate for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, the Dalits, and thereby divide the country further, the society, he stood like a rock. He didn't allow that. When the Muslim League started asking for creation of Pakistan, and then people, the Indian National Congress, thought it was something they could manage it. Baba Sahib had forewarned it. And read his books, Pakistan, Idea of Pakistan or Partition of India. Long before partition, he had written that whole thing. Had we listened to him, perhaps partition could have been averted, or it would not have been as traumatic. Millions died and several millions were displaced, rendered homeless. This partition, if not avoided, if not averted, would have been less painful. But we didn't listen to him. His social discrimination, his campaign for social discrimination. We often talk about he is the father of Constitution. Yes, he is the father of Constitution. But he was much more. When it comes to social discrimination, what all we have done? Even here in our state, We have been talking so much about social justice, but every other day you hear some atrocity against Dalits. Either the human feces will be put in the water tank of a Dalit colony, or he will be publicly humiliated and assaulted, or not allowed entry into the temple, or Anganwadi school will be divided, separated. And when it comes to crime against Dalits, the response of the law enforcement and criminal justice system is awful. It pains to know that in our state, rapes against Dalit women cases, only 7% ends in conviction. This is the data. This of the 100 rapists, 93 go scot-free. And we talk about social justice. And we talk about Baba Saheb. What happened in the last 7-8 years? And not only that, even when it comes to even schemes, building homes for the Dalits. CAG report says that 30% of the central allocation for building homes for the Dalits go unspent. And the remaining major part is diverted for some other purposes. This is not I am saying, this is the Controller and an Auditor General of India saying. So much for social justice. What happened in the last about 9 years that Prime Minister Modi came at the helm of affairs, which he could do? If today, and all of us, we see the change that is happening all around. India was until then considered a third world country. Nobody took us seriously. We were at the margin of international affairs. Such a large country. Today, when India speaks, when the Prime Minister of India speaks, the world listens with attention. Today, we are the fastest growing large economy in the world. When the whole world is going through global recession-like situation, India is growing at the fastest. And the world looks at this country as a savior, as an engine of recovery. Today, we are emerging as, we are already almost poised to be the second largest manufacturing hub. We are the largest startup ecosystem in the world. Till 7-8 years ago, we had the dubious distinction of a country with about more than 55% people going for open defecation. Today we are open defecation free. Earlier people used to say it is a cultural issue, you can't change it. It happened. Every house got a toilet. 110 million houses, 11 crore houses got toilet. Access to drinking water. Access to electricity. Access to health care for all. Irrespective of whether the person is in Tripura or in Trivandrum or Kanyakumari or Kashmir. Everyone. Access to health care. When it comes to gender, century of iniquity. We had a shameful situation where for every 1,000 men, we had about 925 to 930 female. There used to be female feticide, or even if the female child is born, because of lack of care, discriminatory attention, the child used to die. Today, we are in a situation where we can proudly say that today, sample surveys have revealed that today we have removed that, our women are, our census result is it as and when it comes, but the sample surveys have revealed it, that today we have more number of female in the country than men. People have talked about how people are getting, and people at the margin of society, the lowest, the last man, Antim Jan, how they are getting the benefit. How the world, why not only in the country, when it comes to a startup, with less than 500 in 2014, today we have more than 90,000 startups in the country. 108 of them are unicorn, more than $1 billion worth. All this transformation that has happened, how? What is the magic? What happened in this last 8-9 years? What did Prime Minister Modi did? I think when you read these books, you get how his period of being at the helm of affairs has touched and transformed the lives of our people in all aspects of our society, all segments of our society. But to understand this person, you have to take the holistic view, because these are all how it touched different sections. The fundamental change, the magic happened because Prime Minister Modi, or called even before he became Prime Minister, it's not because he's Prime Minister, because Amit Saji has written a good piece about after he came to political life in mid-80s, with Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation election responsibility, how he grew in political life. But if you look at the person, to understand this person, because students of history will tell you, they know it, that history chooses a person to play its forces around which the forces play, historical forces play. And Modi is a person around whom the modern historical forces are playing. What is this person? What is so special about this person? Why has he been chosen for the historical forces? By the historical forces, for the historical forces. The fundamental change that happened is the way you look at the country. The way we look at Bharat, India. Before him, people continued looking at this country in terms of differences. Different regions, different caste, different religion, different races. And as a result, these kept multiplying. If you see the data of 1951 and see it of 2011, the latest which are available in public domain, the number of castes which was in 1951 and number of castes today almost have become double. New castes have emerged. Tribes, more than doubled. We kept looking at differences, and differences kept multiplying. And they created their own problems. Each one started, we are different. And as a result, we had everywhere, nowhere, society was at peace. Some or other conflict continued and continued multiplying. Not only that, when you look at in terms of differences, when it comes to development, the approach was, okay, you have some resources, Your kitty is limited. Allocate some resources for each, whatever is needed. Health, education, infrastructure. The smarter one got more, less smart got less. As a result, some region developed, some region did not develop. And contrast became very obvious. South versus north, west versus east. Some more developed, less developed. And even in the area, in the region which was considered developed, there was a huge sub-regional variations. Even in our own state, we have the differences, south, north, west and east. Here we have hunger, here we have poverty. While on the macro level, we may proudly say that we are the advanced and one of the progressive state of the Indian Union. But the fact is, we have hunger, we have poverty, we have untouchability, we have huge prejudice against women. It was a Darwinian model of development. And you know what is Darwin? Survival of the fittest. If you are smart, you get more resources, you manage. And that worked at every level. Somewhere, people were smarter, they got the resources, leaving the others aside and behind. This created so much of imbalances. Now this is something, because we kept looking at this country in terms of differences, difference, region, race. Prime Minister, forget about Prime Minister, I'm talking about the individual Modi. Modi looks at this country as one organic entity, a family, a kutumbam. When he says Bharat Mata, it is not a slogan, it is not a political slogan, it is a sentiment. When you look at the country as a family, you cannot say that I will take care of the health need of some members of my family and not others. I will take care of the hunger needs of some member of the family and not others. You will not leave anyone behind. To the best of your ability, you will cater to the needs of every member of your family. And that is what is happening today. In all the schemes, be it Ayushman Bharat, whether the person is in Tuticorin or Tripura, everyone has access. When it comes to Nal Se Jal, for drinking water, tap drinking water, potable water to every home. Homeless getting home, whether the person is in Tamilnadu or in any other part of the country, everyone. 30 million homes have been built, homes for the homeless. Using technology as the tool, and with the 480 million Jan Dhan account, person eligible, just uploads it, this piece of land for building the home, the one's own home. Uploads and the money comes at different stages in the account. It doesn't discriminate. When it comes to cooking gas, we have 90 million homes which got free cooking gas. 90 million. And they are largely people from at the margin of the society. Our Dalits, our tribals, poors. It is all inclusive because looking at the country as a family brings the change. It is a question of your sentiment, your heart. Earlier, in the Darwinian model of development, there are families, their family interest. Family has to perpetuate itself. by hook or by crook. And that is why today we find coalition of such interests coming together and trying to defeat. It won't happen. They won't succeed. Because the country is awakened today. So the way you look at the country and the way you look at the country's problem. Today, health is not looked into segment that I have got this much money, so many schools, so many hospitals will be built. So many medical colleges will be built. No. Everyone has to be covered. Whether it is Ayushman Bharat, whether it is Jan Aushadhi Kendra through which you get the medicine, through primary health center, wellness centers, creation of more and more, every district having a medical college. Now all these earlier people used to say that the growth and development, they were inversely related, because if you go for this, how do you get the money back? Today, when we are building more and more hospitals, we are building more and more medical colleges, we are building more and more primary, more than 150,000 primary health and wellness centers upgraded. They also create a lot of ancillary jobs. And also, the fundamental change in governance model. People come up with some model or other, very fanciful model without knowing what the model is all about. Earlier, the model of governance was of patronage. Government was guardian, my baap. But people used to go to government for something, give us something. Little realizing that this country of 1.4 billion has got far more talent, far more energy, far more capacity than what the government has. Government is a small, infinitesimal entity. Earlier, we didn't trust our people. We created a patronage model of governance. And we made people supplicant, subservient to the government. Today, when Jan Andolan, Jan Bhagidari, people's participation, we find creative energy of young people, and all the 90,000 is started. Who are they? They are our young people, young men and women, they are doing it. They are doing incredible things. We saw it during pandemic. We didn't know what is mask, all the kits, but within no time, not only we got thanks to our scientists, we trusted, and they came up with one of the finest vaccines. And we gave it not only to our people, but we shared with more than needy people in more than 150 countries. More than 150 countries we shared our vaccine with them. Now this came because of the trust in our people. No scheme, no government, scheme or policy can succeed unless there is people involvement. Look at the simple. We all have Independence Day. But why did he, when he said it, okay, Vidutauram Desi Modi, every Ghar Ghar Tiranga. Now look at the kind of energy that it created. We found I was driving in the rural areas, and every house I found all around, there was a festival of national tricolor. Sentiment. How bring people together, make them feel proud. This is the fundamental change. Taking the country as a family. And problem of the country as a problem for all the people to be comprehensively addressed, not in piecemeal. Because in piecemeal we continued addressing the problem of poverty, problem of illiteracy, problem of health, problem of infrastructure. But problem kept multiplying. And we remained the home to the largest number of sick, hungry and illiterate people. No longer the case we are addressing. Today, we have entered the Amrit Kaal. Look at the budget. What a transformative, laying the foundation of a fully developed India. 10 lakhs crore capital expenditure. Nobody imagined. And this is in successive for last 3 years this year has been given a massive push. Coming years, you will see how in the next few years, the change will happen. Will be more and more change will happen. Change is happening. Transformation is happening. Today we are the 5th largest economy, and we are in next 5 to 6 years, we are poised to be the 3rd largest economy. And by 2047, India will have a 40 trillion economy, which is the largest economy in the world. Today, our country is moving forward with confidence. Confidence in oneself. Confidence in one's capacity, capabilities, and with compassion, which we display in all our conduct. This rise of New Bharat. Many times when we are too close to the event, which we are unable to grasp fully the unfolding scenario. It is not, when we are too close to the event, it becomes difficult for us. But one thing is very, very clear. That the transformation that is happening today in our country and the situations in the world is all leading towards a massive change in the global order. Today's global order is highly iniquitous. The global order of today was created in the aftermath of Second World War. The victor countries got together and created a world order according to suit their interest. Today, a larger part of humanity is voiceless. 2/3 of the humanity, which we call Global South, has no voice, at least not any decisive voice. All the problems that we are seeing today, whether it is a war, whether it is the way to deal with the pandemic, the climate crisis, these are all product of this global order. This is highly iniquitous, unjust order. It has to go. And the world is looking at India with expectation. Rise of India is unlike rise of other countries. In the past, whenever a country rose, it created a lot of anxiety in the minds of people, in the countries. So many countries. We know that when Europe rose, they colonized the world and inflicted the worst kind of atrocities on the colonies. We were the victims. When United States of America and Soviets rose, in the pursuit of their ideology, they devastated the world. They inflicted all over the world war and misery. One was in the name of democracy, other in the name of communism. When China rose, it created again havoc, giving loans, unproductive assets, and bringing those countries into the debt trap and making them compelling them to share their sovereignty. Sri Lanka is an example. They built $1 billion Hon'ble port, telling them that this port will be close to the lane of east-west, sea lane of communication. All the ships will be coming for servicing, and dollars will rain. The port was built, no ship came. And when the repayment came, Chinese say, you have to repay. If your port is not working, what do? We have built it with your consent. And then Sri Lanka was forced to lease the whole thing and much more to establish them, for allowing them to establish some ancillary industry to make it commercially viable. To recover the loan, Sri Lanka has to share its sovereignty. that area, that port, that land around has become practically Chinese territory. When India gave over $5 billion assistance to Sri Lanka, of which 600 million was a grant, India gave for building hospitals, for building schools and colleges, for building infrastructure roads, for building community assets, for building homes for the homeless. More than 60,000 homes have been built with assistance, for the well-being of the people of Sri Lanka. A large part of that was spent among the Tamils, among the region of Sri Lankan Tamils. It was, this is our model. When China rose, they made the South China Sea an international water as if it was their land. All the reefs and rocks and reefs, they developed, they reclaimed the land, put their bombers and military assets, and prevented the other littoral states from using their own exclusive economic zones. Every country under the international law, which is a littoral country, which has a sea line, has exclusive economic zone. All the resources, marine resources, are the property of that country. China denied them and said, no, these are all ours. So when the China rose, created anxiety in the world. But when India rises, there is a hope. Because India, it is in the DNA of our country that we treat everyone as a family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is not a political slogan. It was there in our books long, long back. It is written, inscribed at the entrance of the central hall of our parliament. We believe the common humanity. And here, in this rise of India and the global expectations, you will watch all the young people, young friends around, you will see the world is moving towards an India-centric global order. And I have no hesitation to say that the single most impactful phenomenon of the 21st century is Modi. Single most impactful phenomenon of 21st century. Because the transformation that you are seeing today here in the country and in the global order, it is leading to transform the whole world. More sustainable, more equitable. While we are creating an equitable Bharat, where everyone, every citizen is a stakeholder and has access to the amenities, what is required, what is needed for a dignified citizenship, it will lead to creation of an equitable world order. We are too close to the event. We are unable to grasp, but you will see the things are moving. You have seen the magic in the last a few years, how the world has started looking, their outlook has changed towards our country. How the world which was looking at as if here, our economists used to say India cannot grow as an economic power. People used to say India will grow at the Hindu rate of growth. Our own economist was economist of the Ivy League, they used to say Hindu rate of growth, because they are not supposed to grow. They will only be satisfied with something else. Today we have the fastest growing economy. How? The magic that is happening today is momentous. Transformation that is happening is cutting across religion, creed, caste, treating every Indian as an equal stakeholder. Look at the way our Muslim sisters, who suffered so long the indignity of triple talaq, they have been liberated. Nobody had the guts before. Look, this fundamental change in the way you look at the country as a family, not in terms of distinction. If you look at in terms of differences, we are all different. We are all the several hundred people sitting there, we are all different. But is it how we look at? This is diversity. Diversity is not difference. Our diversity is like diversity of leaves of a tree. A tree has million leaves. No two leaves are alike. Nature does not replicate. And yet, away from the tree, they have no existence. We are all organically one. And that is the outlook that this person called Modi has for this country, which is responsible for all the policies that you see. You understand, you listen, you should think over it. People have a tendency usually to brush it aside as if it is a political slogan. No. Positivity, build the positivity in the society. Everyone, every human being is a mix of the two. We have good, we have bad. Nobody is a perfect saint, nobody is an absolute sinner. We are a mix of it. The question is, and so is every society, if you stress on, if you look at the bad, if you look at negativity, negativity grows. If you look at positivity, positivity grows. Choice is ours. Whether we allow positivity to grow or negativity to grow. There are people still trying to create negativity in terms of race, in terms of language, in terms of some kind of imaginary things. No. That is not the way we will move forward. That is not the way that leads to the destiny of Bharat, the destiny of our country. To be the leader of the world, for the good of the world. Not the leader of the world, as others did so far, as a hegemon, but as for the good of the world. This is what Sri Aurobindo, after when India became independent in when the British left, on the 15th of August 1947, Sri Aurobindo wrote his dream. The first dream he wrote, he said, in the entire universe, Earth is the only evolutionary planet where you have a life and life is evolving. And on this evolutionary planet, Bharat is the only country where we have that light, that adhyatmic light of universal oneness. That the entire creation is one, various manifestations of the same divine, whether humans, animals, plant. We are all children of this Mother Earth. We are all part of a kudumbam. This sense which came to this land several thousand years ago, nowhere else. And then Rishi Aurobindo says, was it an accident? And he answers, no. It was a design. It was a divine design. And so, it is the duty of Bharat. Then he says, now you have become independent. Your duty is to grow strong with your adhyatma, your spirituality, to save the world. Bring the world together as a family. It is a divine mandate. It is an obligation cast on this country. And a person called Modi is fulfilling that divine obligation. Friends, especially my young friends, I urge you to go through the book, read the pieces, think over it. You are all intelligent. You are not among the average. You are much above the average. And you are capable of thinking. Read it, think over it, and be part of our national journey towards the nation's destiny. Each one of you have an important obligation, a very important responsibility to make this country the leader of the world in the next 25 years. I wish you all the very best in your journey ahead in your life. And happy. Thank you.